Good afternoon. My name is Kaya Crawford, and I'm the executive producer of this year's Gonzaga Student Film Festival preview show. Everyone here in Broadcast 203 has been hard at work for the past 2 weeks to create a great show for you all. So all we ask is that you silence your phones and turn your attention to the screen. We hope you enjoy the show.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this year's preview of the Gonzaga Student Film Festival. I'm Jason Funes.
And I'm Josh Gilchrist. We have a packed show to get you ready for the upcoming festival. We will have exclusive interviews, stories, and of course, stay tuned for previews of this year's nominated films.
But first, we will send it over to Lyssa Ibarra in the Opila suite to learn all about this year's festival.
Jason and Josh. This year's festival is shaping up to be an exciting one. With the Student Film Festival right around the corner, let's first learn more about its history. The film festival was created in 2019 by Matt McCormick, a professor in the Integrated Media Department and a filmmaker himself. Students were to submit their films by April 29th. The festival showcases an array of filmmaking approaches such as documentary, narrative, and experimental. This year's panel of judges includes art professor Jennifer So, film professor Matthew Bolton, and integrated media professor Jenny Davis. Let's take a closer look at our three judges. Jennifer So is an artist that makes drawing sculptures of everyday objects. Her work considers what it means to be a second-generation Korean American. She got her Master's of Fine Arts in painting and drawing from the University of Texas at San Antonio. Our second judge, Matthew Bolton, teaches film courses such as gender and sexuality in horror film and world cinema. He does research in film adaptation and develops a rhetorical approach to adaptations across media. Our final judge, Jenny Davis, teaches literary journalism, emerging media, and media literacy. She is the owner and editor of Lilac City Literary. The film festival takes place this Friday, May 3rd, from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Junt Auditorium. There's lots to look forward to for the festival's 5th year. Now, we head back to the studio for an exclusive interview brought to you by our host, Emily Niemann.
Thanks so much, Lyssa. Joining me today is the founder of the Gonzaga Student Film Festival, Matt McCormick. A documentary filmmaker himself, Professor McCormick is a Gonzaga professor who teaches a documentary filmmaking class here in the Integrated Media Department. Thank you for being here today, Professor McCormick.
Yeah, my pleasure.
How are you today?
So far, so good.
Yeah. So now that the festival is in its 5th year here at GU, what has it been like watching it develop over the years?
It's been great. Every year it's gotten bigger. The content, the films that we're showing keep getting better and stronger. There's more wider interest across campus. I'll be curious to see how attendance is this time. Last year we pretty much packed the Junt Auditorium. So we're definitely right at a point where sooner or later we're going to need to find a larger venue. But it's been great because it's just each year gets a little bit bigger, a little bit better.
Yeah, and I imagine there's a bunch of creativity involved with making short films and producing this kind of content. How do you feel like events like this kind of go into Gonzaga's idea about developing the whole person?
Well, I think, so I've always made a joke when I'm teaching film students that you can't truly consider yourself a filmmaker until you've not only made a film, but you've then shown it in a theater in front of an audience full of strangers, right? That is the kind of final step to officially becoming a filmmaker. It's a really important one. And so I think, that kind of helps, to specifically answer your question. I think that it's a way that we can sort of holistically create, students who have had these diverse experiences. And more importantly, just give them this opportunity to share their work, to experience what it's like. It's addictive. I can speak from personal experience. making movies is fun, but it's also really fun to show them and to like the energy and the excitement that comes with that. So it really is just kind of a punctuation point at the end of a long story.
Yeah, and I imagine there's quite a few films that you get to see every year. What are some things that you look for?
Lots of different things. Obviously, content is important. Production value is important. You know, making sure just the general technical practice is looking good. The film is looking good. But you know, also creativity and really, you know, whether it's a fiction, nonfiction, even you know, something more abstract. You know, really just wanting to see something that's expressive, that you know has a clearly defined reason for being made. You know.
Was there any like particularly creative standouts over the years?
Oh, there always has been. There always has been. And one of my favorite things is just seeing how diverse the projects that students make can be. You know, this year we've got several films that are, you know, straight nonfiction, documentary, or kind of news package-like projects. And then there's some that are some pretty far out narrative projects. You know, I think you're going to be talking to Carson Scallen later. You know, he's got a project of a, I don't want to spoil anything, but you know, Santa Claus is involved.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, that must be so fun to get to see everybody's creativity like that.
It really is, and to see it sort of growing, right? I think one of my favorite things is to see students, especially, you know, now I've been here for a couple of years, and I can see students grow, and you know, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you know, see the quality of their work improve, and just, yeah, it's really fun to sort of see them be a part of the journey that they're on.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up after the break, Jason and Josh will be previewing a few of the films that students submitted. Then we will learn just what it takes to make an award-winning film here at Gonzaga. All this and more when we come back.
Guys, what's up? Sorry, I had a late lunch, but what are you guys working on here?
No, that's okay. We were kind of just finishing the storyboard. We were thinking of starting with a dark room shot.
Kind of like we did last week, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
remember
Okay.
that? Yeah. You really liked that idea last week.
No, I think that's fine. That was probably the only like decent part of it, I would say.
Aren't you acting?
No, probably not.
Okay, well, we kind of already put it together. Do you not have...
No. I'm supposed to be gone.
Welcome back to this year's preview of the Gonzaga Student Film Festival. We just heard from Matt McCormick about all the festival has to offer. Let's check out some of the films that students submitted.
This first film is a profile on music professor Dr. Jadrian Tarver and how music contributes to the greater movement of social justice. Dr. Tarver's work is more than entertainment, but rather his own act of service. Here's a glimpse of this story from filmmakers Mary Sherden and Patrick Janasek.
Well, I always knew that it was tied to it, you know, growing up in the black church, also going to an HBCU. So I've always known that it was something, this connection, this symbiotic relationship between music and social movements. And there would not be a civil rights movement without music being a part of the record.
Wow, I would definitely learn to love more about the civil rights movement, especially in the 1960s and stuff, and kind of how music played a role in that.
I think this is something that a lot of people need to see. It looks very informational and really good.
Yeah, definitely something that
Excited
people
for
should
to
check out.
Absolutely. So this next film highlights the Black Student Union. This film is called A Cultural Explosion, an exploration of the Black diaspora. It highlights a cultural event that some would call a cultural explosion. This film was created by a pair of first-year media makers from the Gonzaga Bulletin. Take a look.
I'm leading the lip sync battle today. I got a good choir with me, a good group of people, and I'm ready to showcase our abilities. So when we say diaspora, we're trying to spread that and cover each and every single person, recognizing who they are, what they're showcasing, and like where they come from and their roots.
It's incredibly important. It's a way for our community to see what we're doing here at Gonzaga. It's a way for other cultural clubs to learn about us, and then it's also for administration to see what students can do, because that's a huge thing that administration loves coming to these events, and so that's really our way to be visible to them.
Jason, if that preview doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what to tell you. That looks like an impactful and informational thing.
Definitely, yeah. Just love the amount of stories you can tell through music, through dance, through clubs like that, definitely. As we mentioned, that last film was made by a pair of first-year students, Elena Shadid and our own Alexandra Showell.
Alexandra has been staying busy this spring. For today's show, she also served as our reporter, learning just what it takes to create a winning film from GU senior Mary Sherden. Mary was a finalist in last year's festival. Let's see what Alex learned.
Last year, I took Matt McCormick's documentary filmmaking class, and I had never taken any kind of film class. I was really kind of strictly more on the news side. And so it was really a great opportunity to get a little more creative and work on like long form storytelling instead of just like quick, VO, VOSOTs that we run in the news.
One thing right off the bat, Mary's been making great work since she got here. I've had her in several classes and she's always been producing really strong stuff. And then the work I see her making in other classes is really strong, powerful content.
Mary and Abby Johansson were paired together for an assignment in a comms class. They discussed diet culture, an issue that was meaningful to both of them. When Mary was deciding on a topic for her film, she reconnected with Abby, who had recently done a research study on religion and body image. Mary knew that Abby would provide valuable insight into the relationship between college eating habits and self-worth. This was the focus of her film, titled Freshman 15.
It turned into something bigger than just working for a grade. Around the first or second night of working until 3 in the computer lab, you definitely start going, no, I want this to be good because people are going to see it and because what we say matters.
So the film festival, when I was hired, I was essentially brought in to start a film program and got here and no such thing existed. So I was like, all right, I'm making a executive call here and we are launching a film festival.
The film festival has taken place every year since 2019, even happening online during COVID.
But now it's nice to be back in person.
Yeah, it was. I would say it was the first time I did more film. I mean, not counting the silly videos that you make with your cousins on iMovie. We're all film directors in that sense.
If you would like to see more of Mary Sherden's new work and other filmmakers, make sure to stop by the Junt Auditorium this Friday at 7 o'clock. Reporting for GUTV, I'm Alexandra Showell.
Wow, what a fantastic report by Alex. That was really well done.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious to see what Mary creates in the next couple of years and get to see more of her films down the line.
Absolutely.
Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we'll be taking a look at some more films in this year's festival. Then, Emily will sit down with a student filmmaker who may know a thing or two about Santa Claus. We'll see you right after the break.
The experience that you have abroad is going to be as meaningful, I believe, as the effort that you put into it. I hope that what Study Abroad and what the Center for Global Engagement in particular does is that it opens up the whole campus to both differences and both that engagement, that willingness to change, and by doing that lift you up in a way that expands your mind and helps you engage the world in a different way. Go abroad.
I want to be a well-respected actor.
I want to be a therapist. I want to be a supermodel.
I want to be a history teacher.
I want to climb mountains in New Zealand.
I want to change the world through education of young minds.
I want to be an artist for, I don't know, but I just want to be an artist.
I want to be a marine biologist.
I want to be a doctor and save lives.
Welcome back to the Gonzaga Student Film Festival Preview Show. Jason and I have already discussed a few of the films up for an award in this year's festival, but there are many more that we have yet to see.
Absolutely, Josh. Now it's time to bundle up and prepare to travel across the globe. Senior Patrick Janicek takes us into the solitary journey of one man working in Antarctica. The time spent in the southernmost continent helps spark a deeper connection to his past. Here's A Frozen Legacy.
Been here for almost 2 months now, with a little over 3 months to go. I've started missing things. We don't have any natural smells here, so all I smell is diesel and people. That's literally it. I miss vegetation. I wish I could go lay in some grass. I miss like natural smells, like flowers. I wish I could go to like a botanical garden, which I can't. It's a pretty stark environment here. Not much going on. There's no wildlife. Biggest of all, I wish I could see nighttime. I have not seen the sunset. I have not seen the moon. I have not seen the stars for over a month now. We got our last sunset back in October, so it's been a while.
Wow, that is way different from my life in Spokane. Definitely something that I think people around here should go check out if they have the time.
I just love the sunshine and I couldn't let it go. I'm just not a fan of frozen things.
No, definitely not.
For our next film, Elena Shadid uses the art of film to showcase the art of dance. The film highlights Pivot, a celebration of ballet featuring the Gonzaga University Repertory Ballet Company. Along with the added expertise of local Spokane choreographers, it proves to paint a beautiful picture. Let's take a look.
Ballet specifically has always been a reflection of culture from the earliest times in history, and especially court dancing. And so our concert this week, Pivot, is going to be, we're going to reflect on the journey of ballet and dance in our culture.
We haven't had Point in a really long time, and we haven't had a whole cohort of people who dance on Point, which is incredible. Point is something that I grew up with, and I stopped when I came to Gonzaga, and so it was really cool. It has been really cool to get back into that, like get back into what I used to do in high school and incorporate that into what I'm doing in college.
The stories you can tell through ballet, and ballet is one of the most beautiful dances in my opinion.
You and I should do ballet together.
Yeah,
It'll
we
be
might
fun.
not look so graceful, but
Probably not.
we should try. As we prepare for this year's film festival, it's a reminder that many Gonzaga students are hard at work creating films and telling stories throughout the year. Let's send it over to Emily with one student filmmaker who didn't let a concussion hold him back from creating some great work.
Thanks, Jason. Joining me today is filmmaker Carson Scallen. Carson was a top 3 finisher in the 2023 Film Festival and has multiple films in this year's festival. Carson, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So now that this is your second year participating in the festival, is there anything you're super excited for?
I'm just excited to see everyone's work. Last year was like a big celebration of just everyone coming together and watching everyone's hard work throughout the academic year, and I think that it was so fun and beautiful just to see everyone come together and just celebrate.
Yeah. Is there anything that you learned last year that you're excited to take into your approach this year?
I think last year, one thing that was very noticeable was how everyone helped each other. So in the credits of everyone's film, you saw the other filmmakers. So that was really cool. So for my film this year, I wanted to make sure I emphasized on that. And I think most people in my credits have other films playing or have been in other films in the past.
Yeah, that's really cool, like the community that is with all that. Mm-hmm. So I imagine that you're a pretty creative person, considering how many entries you have this year. Can you walk us through your creative process a little bit, like how you come from an idea into a finished product?
I think my creative process runs from like a spiral. So like I get one little idea and I just kind of let it run until it comes into something full. For this story about Santa Claus, I drew an angry Santa Claus in philosophy class instead of paying attention. And then the next class I wrote a script, and then from there on out it became a finished project. So you just have to let it run its course.
Yeah. Well, your film this year is called You'll Be Jolly. Christmas time is here, but apparently not for everyone. This film explores a different side of Santa Claus and the run-in with a modern-day Scrooge. What happens when the big man and the Santa skeptic face off? Let's find out.
Just what I thought. Naughty.
What's going on here? I don't...
Johnny. Do you still not believe in me?
What did I ever do to you?
You didn't believe. You have been defaming me every chance you get. And what you said in the garage, that was the last straw.
How do you know about that?
Keeping my eye on you, Johnny.
Whoa, what a cool twist on like a childhood tale. So I know you talked about like your like picture of like a mean Santa that you drew, but could you talk more generally about like things that inspire you to be creative and like make films?
I think that film and TV and all that stuff is like a celebration of like human creativity. Yeah. And I think that it's fun to dial into that and just let your mind run its course. I have a notepad of just many ideas, some like really dumb, some I think that are kind of cool. Yeah. And it's just like everything we see online, every film and movie, whatever, is someone thought of that, and it's really, again, a celebration of human creativity, and I find that beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And for this film particularly, do you want to talk a little bit about the process of what that was like, and like filming and editing and actually making the thing? Yeah,
so again, I came up with this idea in my philosophy class instead of taking notes, and that just spiraled there. Over winter break, I wrote out a script, and then I'm fortunate enough that I'm getting college credit for this project.
Oh, cool.
Through Matt McCormick. So I showed the script to him. He didn't like it, so we did an entire rewrite. I sat down with another producer, Joe, kind of just thank him real quick, and we came up with new ideas, and then I wrote it again, and then from there on out, we shot it. And then when you're editing it, you pretty much rewrite it. So I cut a lot of things out, rearranged things, and then finally, just an hour ago, I exported the final project.
Wow. So do you have any advice for students trying to do what you're doing and making short films?
Yeah, I think just do it. I mean, no idea is too dumb, and I think that, or too dumb. No idea is too bad or too dumb or anything. Any idea is a good idea. So I think if you just put your mind to it and make what you want to make, people are going to appreciate that and people are going to celebrate that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much for making the time to be with us today. I know that I'm excited to see the rest of You'll Be Jolly as well as your other entries in this year's festival. We wish Carson and all the other students participating in this year's film festival luck. For now, let's send it back to the desk with Jason and Josh to wrap up the show.
Thank you so much, Emily. We loved learning more about Carson's experience and new films for this year's festival.
Speaking of the festival, the wait is almost over. Let's remind you of all those details you'll want to know if you plan to attend on Friday night.
The 2024 Gonzaga Student Film Festival is free to attend and will be hosted at the Junt Auditorium.
The event starts right at 7 p.m. and goes until 9. Expect to see about an hour of student work, followed by an award presentation for the top 3 films.
Students have been working hard all year to bring stories to life. It will be exciting to see their work at the festival.
Well, that wraps up this year's GU Student Film Festival preview show. If anything caught your eye after previewing all these exciting films, we hope to see you at the festival. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Go Zags!